Texas. Guys dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, Saturday, 7 April 2012, Episode 10. It's beginning to look a lot like diving. And here we are once again.
Hello. How are we doing?
Very, very good. And for some reason we've got the wrong episode number up here, but we'll fix that. So, another week has gone by. Anything exciting happening in your world?
Well, no, actually, no. I can't say that.
Really?
No.
Nothing?
No, I actually started biking a little heavier now. So, gotten into the bow biking thing.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
I'm gonna try to do 10 miles 3 times a week for a total of 30 at least. 30 miles.
Are you gearing up for like a bike riding marathon or anything like that, or is this just trying to do some personal best type stuff?
You know, honestly, this is just for me personally. I would love to get into serious off-road biking stuff like that, but I just felt like I had to do something. Running is really kind of boring for me, and just the whole experience of biking and in general, it's just
Right.
it's a lot of fun. The trying to get more people into biking. You know, I don't mind biking by myself.
Right.
You know, I just put my little headphones on and
You're
you know.
in your own little world.
Exactly.
At that
I
point,
just
yeah.
I'm just going. The other day I actually did 10 miles in 57 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now,
so
what kind of bike is it that you've got?
I actually got a specialized Hard Rock 29er.
Okay, for those who are uninitiated into bicycles like moi, why don't you share with folks what that's about?
Specialized is actually the brand of bicycle that I'm currently using. There are other types of bikes out there. There's really good bikes. There's Trek is a good one. Condell's another one. Specialized. There's different types of bikes out there depending on what it is you choose to do. The one that I got is a mid-level entry off-road bike because since I am like 5'10", I needed a bigger bike, so I needed to go with a little. I was gonna go with a 26-inch bike, but it was kind of I looked a little too big on it.
On a 26,
On
really?
a 26.
Really?
Well, I didn't look big. I felt like I looked big, so I went ahead and just went with a bigger bike.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you had that bike?
About a month, a little over a month now.
Oh, so it's basically your first little major trek was when you were trying to make it to the podcast. a couple
Exactly.
weeks
You
ago.
know, yeah, when I made it over here, I did it in, what did I tell you, 7 minutes?
That was crazy.
7 minutes, yeah, it was. I was gasping for air when I got here.
But that's okay. I mean, that's good exercise. And of course, I saw you at the
The amphitheater.
The amphitheater when we were doing the youth explosion, the
Mhm.
teen beat. Oh gosh. I
The
think that
Teen
was
Beat.
I think that was one of my wife's favorite magazines when
The
she was
Teen
growing
Beat.
up. Scott Baio. You know.
Oh, gosh.
So
It was during
sad.
Scott Bale time?
What?
It was during the Scott Bale era?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
She had Scott Baio. Who else was popular about that time?
It was Chachi then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And, you know, well, also going back to the biking, I actually gave up drinking Cokes, sodas.
Oh, that's right. Well, you kind of went through a stint with that before, right? Because of the dark coloring and stuff, what that was doing to you.
Right, and I just personally wasn't feeling well, so I just decided to make the change now. Besides, I'm gearing up also for this coming summer because I know that you're going to have some obstacles for me.
Gee, why would I do that to you?
You know, because for the dive master training that I'm going through.
Right.
So I'm gearing up for that. So
Wow.
I'm anticipating an interesting summer, folks.
But it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
It is.
Looking forward to that. A lot of training involved, but that's okay. Let's see. So here we are, Easter weekend.
Easter.
Yep, you got.
And by the way, I just noticed you're wearing a gray shirt, and so am I.
Yes,
We didn't plan this.
Exactly, we did not.
Last week we wore 2 white shirts.
So not planned.
We're just in that. We're just in tune, you know.
Right. But yeah, Easter weekend for our Jewish friends out there. Of course, they're celebrating Passover. Do you and your family have any plans?
My parents are coming over to my house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Got a couple of friends coming over as well.
Now, are you guys doing the? Saturday night, like a midnight mass or something like that? Or are you guys doing the Sunday morning?
No, we're gonna do the Sunday.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And of course, our church is going to be, doing a bunch of stuff. We got a great youth program. Little kids program going outside while the adults are having the regular service inside tomorrow. And so, it's kind of a community outreach to the little kids. So it's pretty cool to have the, scriptural references in the whole Easter egg hunt and that kind of thing. They're kind of tying all the pieces together. So it's kind of neat. They'll have some of the youth praise team members going out there to blast the neighborhood neighborhood in the morning. There may be some people who are secular who may be a little upset something's going on.
Oh well, they'll have to get over it. So what's new with you? I see you got some new toys.
Yes, I did. For those who were watching last week's podcast, I was excited about pre-ordering the Lumia 900, which I have right here. Let me switch over to the full shot. Yes, it is a beautiful phone, and a lot of people have asked me about it. Is that a case? I'm like, no, that is actually what this thing looks like. I mean, it's a solid polycarbonate body, 4.3-inch screen, Super AMOLED, the clear black screen that Nokia has come up with. And of course, it's the Gorilla Glass, which pretty much all smartphones are using now. Pretty much it's a bad idea if you have a smartphone that does not use that. But so far, I'm really impressed with the phone. It feels heavy. Let me let you feel. I mean, that's not a lightweight. It does not feel like a toy.
No, it doesn't. The case feels kind of neat. Like it feels good in the hand.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out. And I have to admit, as much as I like my Samsung Focus, it did feel kind of light in the hand, and because it was just plastic casing, I definitely felt like it could slip out of my hand if I wasn't careful. But that one, not so much.
One of the things that I like about phones, it's one of the things that I actually look for, is that the actual headphone jack is up on the top.
Yeah.
Some of them are on the side, like on the BlackBerry, and there are some that are on the bottom.
I don't know why you would put any attachment on the bottom.
Yeah, and like I have a Generation 4 iPod. It's an iPod Touch, and it's on the bottom. It's ridiculous.
I thought because those are basically an iPhone without the phone. I thought that was on the top. They put it on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just a very nice phone. Is this the only color that it comes in?
No, it actually, the initial launch will have, of course, the cyan and the black.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people that, they feel like, well, I want something that looks more professional, and so I will go with the black. Well, I'm like, well, you can put a case on it, which I did get a couple of cases that I could put on. One's kind of a dark gray. One has a white and cyan coloring to it. But around April 22nd, a white one is going to come out, which I don't know why people want white phones, white iPads, white anything like that, because most of us, let's face it, most of us have pretty grubby hands, and we get all greasy on that. It's just nasty, and I have yet to see somebody who has an uncased white iPad or white iPhone where it doesn't look like it's been handled for a year.
And I've seen that. I've seen a lot of people with white iPhones, but they're in cases. The only way you can tell it's white is this little part right here in the front So it's.
I was going to make that point too. I'm like, they get these colorful phones or a phone in a specific color they wanted, and then they cover it up with a case.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of having? Well, because I have a white phone. So, who could tell it?
Yeah, I can't tell. I guess it's just a subconscious thing. As long as you're comfortable,
I know it's there.
You know it's there. Exactly.
Well, and the same mentality though has come out with the folks who have bought the iPhone 4S. They're like, but how do we know it's an iPhone 4S?
It looks just like my phone.
You could tell people, I've got an iPhone 4S, and they wouldn't know the difference. Really? Prove it.
The only way you can tell that it's
Siri
is the Siri. Just hold down the actual command button, and you'll know right away.
No, it's Siri. That should have been the title of the episode. You'll know it's an iPhone 4S by its Siri. Oh, that's hilarious. So anyway, I've been really pleased with it. It's definitely noticeably faster than my Focus. Though the Focus was really fast, I couldn't believe that this was that much faster, but it is. I've already filled it up.
Really?
Yes. Didn't take much for me to fill up 16 gigabytes of memory on this.
Oh,
because I put tons of music and podcasts like Two Guys Who Dive. I put lots of.
You put our episodes on there?
I did have one on there. On my Focus, I do have the latest episode on there because I want to show people, because it really does. And people have said this. It does look good on the smartphones. I mean, it's nice and crisp. It really looks good. So
the last time I saw one was on my iPad, and it actually looked really well.
Does it look good on the iPad?
Yeah, it did.
Speaking of that, I hear that the next version is going to go even super resolution with the Retina display ×2 or something like that. I mean, it's like going nuts.
Oh, really?
We'll see if that pans out, because the current one, the higher resolution, evidently looks great. I just hear from people, it wasn't so much great that I felt that I had to
buy it.
Yeah, buy it in favor. If you got the original iPad 1, it's kind of like with the iPhone deal. It kind of smart to leapfrog to the new iPad to get the higher resolution and everything. But if you got the iPad 2, did you really get that much of a jump with it?
I have the 2, and when the new one came out, the only thing that I also noticed that came out was a new update for the OS.
Right.
Came out. So I updated to that, and it works great. Supposedly it's supposed to help the battery life. The battery life was never an issue to me from the first time. I wasn't experiencing a problem with the battery. Now it seems I haven't charged it in over a week, and it's at 81%. I saw it today.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and it's updating because I have it, with the stocks and all that good stuff. But it's still working fine. The only thing that I noticed that that a lot of people did was when the new one came out, they dropped the price on the original iPad 2.
Right.
So they sold out of those babies quick. Everybody went in. I mean, they dropped them $100. So a lot of people went out and bought those.
Right.
And they're great. I mean, they do what they need to do. So.
And that's, we've had this discussion before. That's really the key. Does it get you what you need? Does it do what you need it to do?
Mm-hmm.
If you mostly are doing consumer type stuff, not a lot of heavy work, business type stuff, they're great for that. There's some folks that like the Android tablets because you can load some more business type functional stuff on there. And I suspect that at least part of Microsoft's approach with the Windows 8 tablets coming out later this year will be, we can hit the business consumer a little bit harder than the competitors are. So
the only thing that I wish that the iPad had was actual Office.
Yeah. I hear that's coming.
I've been trying to Google that and research that online. Nobody's talking about anything, although Microsoft hasn't denied the rumors.
We can neither confirm nor deny.
Exactly. They're not saying anything, so that just leads me to believe that there's something in the works. They just don't want to say anything. But if they were to do that, I think it would be an awesome little tablet. One little problem that I have noticed, because like we talked earlier in the episode here about me biking, I've been doing some research on some videos and stuff, and a lot of the videos are they're Flash, and well, the iPad doesn't support Flash, so it just tells me that it can't.
Yeah.
You know, I can't view the video, which is not a bad thing. It's just it depends on how bad you really need to see a video, and you're gonna get stuck like, and you're not gonna be able to do it.
Exactly. Well, and then that becomes a bigger issue when folks are always waiting for whatever the next. When are you going to do this? You keep, you won't say one way or the other. Especially with the iPad and the iPhone, they already have the OneNote, which is part of Office.
Right.
Now it's not part of the Office proper suite unless you got the full meal deal, which has practically the kitchen sink in it, which is how I got it and got turned on to OneNote, which I really like. But if you have that foot in the door and then you are not saying one way or the other that well, we're kind of working on it, but we don't have an estimated time of when we're going to kick this out. But there have been a number of folks here in the last couple of weeks that have suggested that they've seen some of the early versions, betas, whatever, of the Office suite. I guess part of that is the mindset of, Microsoft is, first and foremost, they are a software company.
Right.
So I guess their thing is, since they're already going to have to write a special version that's going to work on an ARM-based tablet for Windows 8, it wouldn't be a big stretch to say, well, if we're porting it to that, why can't we go ahead and be porting it to, the hardware that the iPhone and the iPad run on?
Well, it goes also back to supply and demand, I think, because you have a lot of people that are actually purchasing the iPad.
True.
And
True.
Why not capitalize on that?
Yeah.
And let's go ahead. We got a big customer demand on for Office for this particular device. Let's just go ahead and let's just give it to them, and we'll increase our profit share by doing so.
Well, and that's exactly, because they, I heard on Paul Thurrott's one of his podcasts, or I think he was on commenting either on What the Tech or this week Windows Weekly on the Twit network, that Office is now what makes Microsoft the most money, not Windows. Wow. I guess that kind of fits with what a lot of people are saying is this is the post-PC era, which I don't know that I agree with that statement. I think that what we've just seen is not a post-PC era, but an era where a lot more devices across a lot of different design formats or ecosystems are coming into play as being heavy hitters. You've got your smartphone, which really is a computer and can do most of the things that your PC can do. You've got your tablets, which same situation. And with Microsoft recognizing that and saying, you know what, we've been in tablets forever, longer than anybody, but now that touch, as put forward by Apple, has really changed the expectations and kind of changed the meme for portable computing. We now have finally the last piece that we can jump into now. So with the Windows 8 tablets, you're going to see finally the PC, as we've known it, move off the desktop and become fully ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining about.
You're looking forward to that.
I've said before, the tech nirvana for me is to be able to sit at my desktop and be working on some project, an office, document or something, and be able to get up, just grab a tablet, and be walking into the living room and can just literally pick up where I left off. I just open it up, and OneNote shows you that can happen. If you've seen the commercials with the little kids,
yeah,
it's a Windows Phone commercial, but the funny part about it is you see Dad shopping at the store, and he's going down the shopping list, which I do. I did that today, as a matter of fact. We keep our shopping list on OneNote, and so he's going through there and he's checking things off as he's done the shopping, and then suddenly the list is growing longer as he's in the application. It was like, wait a minute. So he realized, and the cut shot is the two little sons are updating. Get candy, get cake, they're updating all that stuff from the PC, and he's seeing it live on his smartphone. So really, that is the nirvana for me. That's the way I see it going. I want ubiquitous access to my data, my projects, anywhere I'm at.
Wow. Well, we're getting there.
Yes. Now it just needs to get underwater.
Oh, we've had this discussion before. For those of you that don't, we haven't actually discussed this here during the podcast, but there are computers out there that can monitor your heart rate, blood pressure, everything underwater. And now it's gotten to the point to where they have color screens, And why would you want a color screen when you lose a lot of those?
It is a good thing. It's a good point.
I mean, it looks great on the surface, but underwater, you lose a lot of the colors. So even if it is in color, you're not going to get to see.
Well, exactly. Well, yes, the deeper you go, the more you're going to lose. But there is this caveat. The whole key about seeing color underwater is having enough visible spectrum, of the light spectrum, to see it. Which is why typically, if you're diving at night, you have your light, that you shine on something, which brings the color back. So the idea with the color computers would be that they're backlit well enough, or
to be able to see the colors.
To see the colors. But still, I'm thinking that's great, looks cool, helps visually separate what's going on with the with your dive. But I'm like, how much battery does it take to power something like that? Not alone the aspects of doing all the computing of your dive tables, etc. And if you get the ones, I think the one that you're talking about is air integrated, so it's also calculating your air. It's all things to all people.
Everything.
Yeah. So I'm thinking you're using a lot of battery just to do that. So what are you using to power enough light in the computer so you can see all that color clearly?
I think it just goes back to one of those, like we talked about, like a fad. Not so much a fad. My mind went like
trend.
No, it's just one of those little gadgets, those cool, like, oh, look what I have now, type of things. I'm looking forward to the day that they decide to make a 3D compass and it just like be floating like in water. So I can just be like, diving.
You got a hologram.
A hologram,
Well,
compass.
water would make sense as a place to do that.
Yeah.
How you could project it.
Just project it onto the water and just be gone.
Well, think about it. Right now, what are they doing to create the pseudo-holographic, three-dimensional holographic displays now? What are they doing? They're doing it in, like, smoke. I mean, they're literally putting, putting smoke in the air, and so they're able to project into this mist, and that creates that. It creates the appearance, the effect that you're doing three-dimensional, which is pretty impressive. But still, I'm thinking, how much battery would it take to project a 3D image on top of that? I'm like,
I'm sure it's going to take quite a bit.
Just that would look cool though.
It's gonna
but
look
can
good.
you imagine what you would do to other divers the first time you showed up with something like that? You're like, what?
You know, here we are. You're gonna be all lit up, and 3D graphics and color and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, your computer's gonna die on you, and there goes your error.
It's those whatnots that get you.
Exactly. Because, like you mentioned, right now they're air integrated and everything. So once a computer dies, you don't know how much air you actually have. So there you go. There goes your dive.
That's right. That's right. Which is why it's important to know your dive tables and dive with a submersible watch. So that way, and I keep a set of my dive tables in my pouch.
Yep.
So if for some reason my computer were to fail, I still could dive. I would have my depth gauge, my pressure gauge, because I always have actually 2 or 3 of the analog depth gauges in my bag. So I could still run the tables and do a dive. Now, I wouldn't be able to do as long a dive, obviously, because dive tables are typically very conservative, and the beauty of computers are that
you can push the limit.
You can push the limit. Although I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that because it's calculating your time based on your depth and how much time you're there. So it's always adjusting how much maximum time you can spend at a particular depth. That's the beauty of the computers. It's always adjusting, whereas regular dive tables are rigid. You go down to a depth, you spend your time at the depth, and you come back up.
Right, and on realistic dives, for some of you that are kind of lost on what we're talking about, if you plan a dive based on your tables, they're going to be pretty much very streamlined and specific as to, okay, well, I'm going to go down to 40 feet, and then you're at 40 feet, but you're really not truly at 40 feet because based on terrain, you're going up and down and up and down. Well, the computer takes note of that, so therefore, when you go up, it's actually you're actually off gassing, and it's taking account to that. And when you plan on, with dive tables, you don't have that. So it just you're actually being safer if you dive with a table, because you're really,
if you want to stay conservative.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's okay. And that's, we're, like I said, I don't recommend anything other than conservative diving for folks, especially if you're a newer diver. But for those who are very, very comfortable with their skills and they want to maximize their downtime, because for divers, let's face it, that's exactly what it's about. It's about downtime. So if you are solid in your understanding of what pressure is doing to your body, if you are solid in your understanding of what the computer is telling you, and that computers are still made by human beings, and they're not a perfect answer to avoiding decompression sickness while diving.
Right.
Then you want to, if you are aware of all that, then by all means you could push the computer. Now, these days it's pretty cool that computers actually are of a lot of the higher, middle, and high-end computers will allow you to select different algorithms.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So you could select something that is more on the edge, or right in the middle of the road, or even more conservative. So
most computers, when you buy them, they're already set to be conservative. So you would have to actually tweak it in order to fine tune it to however you wanted to dive. Mine, I left it pretty much stock, as you will, and it will allow me. It notifies me when I'm getting near saturation automatically. Robert has his set to where it'll tell him when you're at 10% or 10 minutes
at that depth.
At that depth, right? So it'll start beeping and letting you know it's like, hey, it's time to get out.
Yeah.
So,
which is good. As a matter of fact, on some of the dive videos that I have, you'll hear my computer beeping. And that's to keep me actually from pushing the edge, because if I'm within 10 minutes of my max, I know, okay, well, I can follow the computer up. So if it's beeping at 10 minutes to my max at that depth, then I come up to a shallower depth, and then I wait till it hits 10 minutes again. And basically, I just follow that. So I'm I'm never pushing all the way to the edge, but I'm definitely maximizing my dive time.
Right.
Because I'm not about to miss out on some prime dive opportunity. I just like being in the water. I know a lot of folks that are like, well, I'll get a dive in here and there, which I just don't get that. If you get an opportunity to dive, I'm like right there. So, okay, so we've talked a little bit about Easter, and I've got to show off my new Lumia 900 by Nokia, or Nokia, depending on where you're from. I did get to go diving a couple days ago. I was basically kind of checking out the temperatures because I've got a dive class coming up. So I wanted to get an idea what the temperatures were going to be like, what the visibility was going to be like, because I had taken a lunch break and gone to Scuba Cove, which is where we typically do our training, and I took a few just shots, just pictures on the shore, up on the dock, just to get an idea what the visibility was like, and it was just really crystal clear for Lake Amistad. I was impressed. And it just made me that much more anxious to get in the water, so I knew I had to get at least a short dive in just to check things out, see where the thermals were, which are there at about 30 feet.
30 feet?
Yeah.
Is there that much? Is there 30 feet of water left at the lake?
Yeah. Well, this is it's a big lake, but it's still pretty impressive. So, but we have this thing we call the dive chest that we typically use because I think it's a chest full of concrete, but
or Jimmy Hoffa.
Or Jimmy Hoffa, we're not sure which, and I can't get the darn thing open to see, so we'll just leave that up to your imagination. I definitely teased the students about it. I was like, well, we're going to see where Jimmy Hoffa is buried.
And we've tried to open it.
Yeah, we have, and it would take some serious lift bags to get that thing out of the water. But that was typically in about 30 feet of water, which made it perfect for doing the controlled emergency swimming ascent, because we have a line attached to it and a permanent buoy attached to it. And so I was curious to see how shallow this was now that the lake is down so far. So went out there and found that it was now practically right underneath the dock, which I'm going to show some video here. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring that up. Maybe we'll get the video. There we go. Okay. So here you can see how really clear the water is. Normally, in midsummer, the algae blooms are pretty heavy at this point, and would be heavy. And you may see 5 to 10 feet down, but I was really, really happy to see it this clear. So I jumped in with my little Intova IC10 camera that we need to replace because it tried to walk out the video. It's trying to compensate too much for the darker light underwater.
There you are.
Yep, they're me, all by my little lonesome. But I'm bringing air supplies. Now see, the building was just great. I was just so not used to seeing it like this. Now as we pan across, you see the dive chest right there. I mean, it was just practically right under the corner of the dock.
That thing used to be at 35 feet, guys.
Yeah, it was amazing that the lake has dropped that much. You see all the cables, and look at that. There's the dive chest in the upper part of the screen as I'm working my way down. I was wearing my 5mm waterproof, that's the actual name of the company, from Sweden. Lederhosen. But you're wearing Lederhosen. Yeah, love that scene. So there's the dock from underneath, and there's the little buoy that the dive chest is attached to. So I was wearing my 5mm full wetsuit.
There's the chest.
There it is. and I was still a little chilly. But I definitely was taking it slow, getting dropped down to the bottom because I wanted to let the water warm up in my suit before I went any deeper.
That is clear.
Isn't that great?
Yep.
I mean, it was just gorgeous. If it weren't for the fact that this is only in 12, 13 feet of water, I would love to be teaching a class right about now.
Well, I'm impressed.
Look at that. 12 feet.
Well, I'm surprised you did that dive with no hood.
Well, here it wasn't bad. It was probably about 68 degrees. Like I said, I took the thermal. It was a pretty good size.
Barracuda.
That's right. Yes, we have the barracuda in the Lake Amistad. You must be afraid. They will come over and bite your face. Now there I am on the small boat.
The Spiegel.
And I found something on it.
Uh-oh. Somebody put the tag.
Yes. It was hilarious. I was like, what the blaze? So there's Heather from HEB. Forever Alive, digital film.
There you go.
So I grabbed the tag. It was, you could tell it was, hadn't been down there very long. Somebody recently put that in there.
What was the depth on the boat?
I think I showed the. I think I should show it here in a second. It was only like 30 feet, something like that. Because wait, do you see how shallow the big boat is?
Oh gosh.
So I ended up taking the tag, cleaning it up a little bit. It really didn't have anything, but I just kind of got the fish off of it. So I go to the main here in Del Rio, Texas. Hello, little fishy. Hello. And talk to one of the night managers. And we'll have to put a new marker on it, obviously, on both of them, actually.
Yeah.
So I said, I found this tag. 4 feet. I said, I found this tag. Really? I don't know, Heather. Oh, he's saying maybe at the small, older store there behind the Pulpo Theater. He said, "Where'd you find it?" I said, "Would you like to see where I found it?" So I had the video on my phone, so I showed him the video. He goes, "You were kidding me." I said, "I don't normally see stuff like this down there."
Wow,
So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So whoever this Heather person is, she has some friends that say some really bad jokes on her.
Well, you're lucky you just found the tag and
Heather herself. Yeah, jokes about that, like, and now we're going to search for the body. So, like CSI.
With that, you'll find it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it's like,
I mean, it's just gorgeous. Now you can see it's harder to tell with this video, but you can see the thermal right there. See, it kind of looks a little misty, and that's where the layer was.
so that's when you felt the shrinkage.
Oh my gosh, the temperature dropped very quick. It got down to 61.
Right about
at
there.
depth, yeah.
Yeah.
Dropped to 61. So
Just love that you're going along and you just feel.
now there
like,
is the big boat.
Ooh, the orca.
The orca. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's great.
The Botany Bay, for those of you that are, I named that boat.
Botany Bay. Botany Bay.
I named that boat.
This is City Alpha 5. There's that reference is like going over the heads of anybody listening.
That boat used to be in about 70 feet, or about 75 feet, maybe.
Yes, at the deep end, you see it's a pretty good slant. At the deep end, it was about 75 feet. 46 feet.
Oh my God.
That's the front end, of course. So the back end's about 50. I think 51. Where I was like, what? That's just not right.
You should see my name on the side of that boat.
Have you really?
Yeah, I did it one time.
Don't voice it. Yes. See, you think that people that are mature enough to learn how to scuba dive would not do good stuff like that. But you know, those are the same idiots who will drag a shopping cart all around Walmart, fill it up with stuff, drag it all the way out to their vehicle, empty it, and then leave parked behind my car. Because they're too lazy to take it out, put it a few feet away in one of the corrals.
You know, the people that do kind of stuff like that, those are the people you do not want to die with.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. Oh, look at this. This was great. I had such a great time. And that's it. So it was an actual still shot, which wasn't too bad. But,
you got to give me a copy of that video. I like that.
yeah, sure. Yeah, it was awesome. I had such a great time with that. It would have been more fun if I had a dive buddy with me instead of my spare heirs.
Oh, well.
But that's okay.
Well, I was working when you called me. Yeah.
Yeah, jobs are a horrible thing sometimes. They just get in the way of diving.
Mm-hmm. I did get the call, folks, and he was like, "Are you up for a dive?" He sent me a picture of the lake, and I was like,
"You got to be kidding me. Of course I'm up, but..."
Yes, but work. My boss ain't going to be happy when I leave here.
So, yeah. So, what about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I am not going to be able to because I have guests coming.
That's right. You said that. Oh, man. Just killing me.
If I can boot them out of the house early enough, we might be able to pull something off.
You know, of course, today I was kind of hoping to get a dive in, too, but it was just overcast. The weather was fine as far as temperature, but it was overcast. And when I get out of that 61-degree water, I want to be warmed up. It's that simple.
It's been kind of warm lately. Been real humid.
Yeah, but that's okay. The humidity doesn't bother me because when you're underwater, it's really humid.
It's really, really humid.
It's not bad, though.
Give me bad hair days.
What? Wait a minute.
Makes my goatee get kind of wavy.
Bad hair day. Oh, yeah,
joke.
That's right. I'm losing mine, so pretty soon I won't have to worry about that. But in the meantime, so we got about 15 minutes left the podcast.
How time flies.
Yes, it does. Want to hit again. We've got some trips coming up, trying to get people to go along with us on this. We've got. Let me see. Let me pull up the dates here for the dive trips. I think I have them. I thought I had them real handy, but they're not as handy as I thought. We originally had scheduled one for the end of April, but as it turns out, to Balmorhea State Park, which is awesome location. We've shown some video from there before, and the problem was that it turns out that somehow they've got some sort of a microbe or insect or something that is a mysterious animal that has invaded the park.
You ever seen the movie Leviathan?
Yeah. I actually liked that movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites also. That's what's in the water, folks.
No, something they reported was on their website, and somebody reported that a number of swimmers had gotten bitten by something that was creating itching and a rash, that kind of stuff. And so they shut the park down, or shut at least the pool the swimming area, diving area down while they investigate. There's no estimated time
Oh wow.
or date when they're going to get that back. When they're going to get that back available for folks to dive at. So I'm like, well, that kind of kills the April trip because you can't, have any kind of
Diving.
well, you can't have any confirmation. They'll let you rent a cabin and campsite and stuff like that, but they're not going to let you go in the pool just because, well, I've got my wetsuit on and I'm protected. They don't care because it could be something more serious. But so we kind of had to cancel the April one, but we're still hoping for May. Or pardon me, no, we couldn't do May either because the original date we chose for May was the same weekend or the same week that they actually they drain all of it to clean it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They close
I'm like,
it down.
why would you do that in the prime swimming and diving time? I mean, that made no sense to me. But May, the week of May 14th through 21st, something like that, which of course falls squarely on the weekend, which was I think the 18th and 19th that we were planning to do this. Whoa. So we kind of had to cancel that one since that was a bad time. So we are definitely gunning for the June trip. Let me see if I can pull up the date for that. Basically, it's the middle weekend. So we got June, I think, 15th and 16th. We're scheduled to go to Balmorhea State Park, and I will be bringing the trailer. So we'll have gear and tanks and stuff like that for those, at least for a few. If you don't have your own gear, you'd have to coordinate with me ahead of time.
So this is still based on whether or not they kill the amoebas or whatever that's in the water, correct?
Kill the amoebas, kill the amoebas. That's wild. You're beeping over there.
It was in the vodka.
That's right.
Why did you put
You're
it in the
beeping
vodka?
over there. What's up with that?
Some of the devoted fans.
Your devoted fans, your wife, or your kids.
No, it's actually I made the mistake of I ordered some equipment for my work, and you know how when you order you have to put your email address. Well, I made the mistake, so now it's like save 10% before
you are now going to be inundated with stuff for people.
You get an email, free shipping ends Easter weekend. Well, I just got it right now. So
Wait a minute.
So how am I going to order it now? They're closed.
What?
So the email's a little slow.
That's it. That's amazing. So we're looking at the weekend of June 15th, 16th, 17th. So those in the Del Rio area, if you're looking to get some really awesome diving in, we'd love to have you join us that weekend. We're also looking at, for July, we're looking at the weekend of the 13th and 14th. And then August 17th and 18th, that's what we're looking at. So by all means, we'd like to have you guys join us. Get in contact with us. Check out the Del Rio Dive Club Facebook page or website to get more information or to let us know, because we'd like to have the more the merrier. We've had some trips up there where we've had pretty good sized groups, and it is a lot of fun.
I always make it. I have to make the trip at least once a year. Usually it's in the beginning of the summer, or around June-ish.
Right.
I've been going usually around my birthday, which is around the 1st of June.
Oh, wow.
And but for sure I will make one of those dates. I know I will. Hopefully they'll kill the amoebas.
Make it more than one of those dates, man.
Yeah, definitely. It's
we
a nice
get Dominic out in the water. I mean, that dude is like reclusive now.
Yeah, we had a little discussion last week, I think it was. We went to the movies, and I kind of asked him, hey, they're planning trips to Balmorhea, and he was kind of like, well, I may or may not make it into the water this summer.
At all?
At all.
What?
Yeah, we kind of had a discussion, which I kind of don't want to bring up on the air, but
okay.
He's working through some issues, and I know he can do it. I know he can.
But what better way to deal with your issues than diving? That's what I don't understand.
I know. Well, it's kind of like me, actually. My buddy, he's gonna have to give up that sugar. Lay off of that sugar because it'll
Don't
just.
we all?
It increases your hip line. You know what I mean? So you just got to lay off of that sugar. And no, I know him, and we'll get him definitely back into the water.
Ladies and gentlemen, neoprene stretches, okay? And it's, by the way, when you're underwater, that compression actually helps. So get in the water.
Yep. But no, I was actually talking to him, and he was saying that if he does dive, he may not be able to dive until maybe later on around.
That's a shame.
July-ish, around there. But no, we'll definitely get him in the water, and hopefully.
I don't want to ever let anything stop me other than an actual, truthfully health reason stop me from diving. I just can't imagine.
Well, there's one thing that the only problem that I have when it comes to diving is I tend to get upper respiratory infections due to I had pneumonia some time back. Yeah, so usually when I get a cold, it affects my chest real quick. So I have to be real careful with that. So that's the only time that I've not gotten in the water. And I've told you that, and usually it puts me down. When I went to my rescue training, actually, my buddy, which is Roland Trevino.
Saw him today, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, didn't have a chance to really talk with him. He was like, we were like ships passing in the night or divers passing underwater. He was cruising one direction in Walmart, and I was cruising the other. But it was a quick handshake. Hi, how you doing? Good seeing you, mister.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so he's a good friend of mine. Known him for a long time, and when we were doing our rescue diver training, we were both very, very sick with a cold. But we didn't let that stop us, even though I don't recommend diving with a cold because you have problems equalizing your ears.
Yep.
But we went ahead and did it anyway. Kind of unique situation there. Would I do it again? Absolutely, I would do it again, but I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. But I know myself, so I pushed through it, and so did he. He's had hypothermia, which is the problem he was dealing with that day in the water because the water was cold, remember? Yeah. And he had a hard time getting underwater because he felt like he was going to panic or choke or, but...
And yet he didn't let on. That pride can be a dangerous thing. It makes you not reveal issues that... it does two things. It either makes you hide a situation till it becomes a dangerous possibility.
And he had actually expressed that to me, which was I already knew that he wasn't feeling well and that he had hypothermia back a couple of years ago for diving actually in frigid water. So I think he dove in 40-degree weather in a shorty or something like that. Something real crazy.
That is crazy.
He got sick from it.
I'm sorry. There's just no amount of money to get me in the water without appropriate protection.
Well, I think it was a job he was doing. I'm not really sure, but anyway, hey Roland, if you're watching, hey, what's up? But anyway, so we were going through the training, and he was sick, and so was I. But I don't recommend doing that. But it's you can equalize. It's just a little harder, but then you start having trouble with other issues, pressure in your sinus cavities and whatnot. So,
which is hard enough to deal with if you're a new diver or an experienced diver. But if you're a new diver trying to push yourself past that stuff, you usually make a mistake, a bad choice, and you create, if not permanent damage, you create a lot more serious damage.
Yeah, and then trying to breathe and. Oh, it was interesting.
Yeah.
But we did well.
Yep. Very successful.
Yeah.
Very successful. Okay, as we're heading into the home stretch here, just want to share with folks who might be interested or have friends or loved ones who are interested. We do have dive classes scheduled for this year. The first one coming up is 26-29 April. You should be signing up now if you're wanting to be in that class. Now, I already have somebody signed up, and happens to be someone whose girlfriend went through the class a couple of years ago.
Nice.
So, you know, it was one of those, I talked to him the other day when he was giving me the deposit for the class. He said, you know, I've always kind of wanted to do this, but I really never thought, you know, it was something I could do. Now I'm dating somebody who is a diver, you know, and that's usually how, you know, they tell two friends and they tell two friends, you know. But peer pressure can be a good thing. It can often at least get you off the fence. You know, if you've been, hey, I could do that, but I really don't have the time. You know, and somebody finally says, "Ah, come on, do it. You'll like it. It'll be good for you." You know, and you finally say, "Well, okay, I'll do it." So that's kind of the situation here. So he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. Everything. I've known his dad for a number of years. So looking forward to the class with him. But so far, he's the only person that signed up. And I'm sure part of it, even though I've seen lots of folks express interest, I'm sure a large part of that is probably due to the fact that the water is still cold, 61 degrees. So I told, you know what's interesting?
Better bundle up, buddy.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I got into discussion with him about, you know, what kind of wetsuit, you know, thickness, full, shorty, all that stuff, and what he should have. And he said, well, I've been looking at this, looking at that. And I said, well, here's the thing. If you're taking the April class, the water is not going to warm up that much in this amount of time. So I think you should probably go ahead and go with either the 5 or the 7 mil full. Probably be fine not to wear gloves or a hood, because the water temperature will have started to warm up some. And you won't be going so deep that the thermals will be a significant issue for you. It's just that you're going to be in the water for so much time over the length of the course.
At least gloves, I think.
Well, and he's about the same size as me, so if it turns out he does need gloves, I've got those in spades.
Right.
But I said what you'll want to do, though, is get, over the course of time, you'll want a number of different suits, because if you only expect to dive in the hottest part of the year or going to places like the Caribbean, then a 3 mil shorty is fine. He said, well, I don't really like the 3 mil shorties. I'm like, why? He said, well, they just look funny. I'm like, really?
They're very comfortable, though.
They are very comfortable. They're much more comfortable to wear than a full wetsuit.
Yep.
But so I'm like, well, don't let the looks be the thing that drives you to a particular wetsuit. So I said you could get a 1 mil even full if you just want a skin suit, basically. But really, you're going to find that probably a 3 mil shorty, you'll get over the, it looks funny because it's a shorty, you'll get over that pretty quick, because the comfort is just there with a 3 mil shorty. So I said, for this class, the 5 or the 7 is going to be perfect. As you get into the dive season, you'll definitely want to get with a shorty or at very least just a skin suit, something like that. So
I've dove in a skin suit.
Yeah, not the kind of
my skin.
Not the skin suit I was talking about. Okay, so for the rest of the season, as far as scheduled basic open water classes, I have 24th through 27th of May, and then the 28th through of June through the 1st of July. So you can get certified just in time for 4th of July, and then go on a big diving excursion over the holiday, which would be great.
Monica was telling me she's going on a cruise. She's going to different places. She's going to Cozumel. She's going all along the Mexican coast. So she's looking forward to diving over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll be her first saltwater dive, won't it?
I believe so.
We need to get you in the saltwater, man.
Yeah, I know. Just throw salt on me and I'll jump in the water.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Get a salt bath. Not Epsom salts. No diving in Epsom salts. So then we also have 26th through 29th of July. And then the last one I have scheduled will be 23rd through 26th of August. Now, I've had a couple of people express interest, but money talks. Express interest in an advanced course. While Patty says you can get your basic and then follow that right on with the advanced, and I'll do it if you insist, but I really recommend that somebody who just got certified as basic open water get a few dives under your belt so you're solid with your skills, so that when you are trying to learn the more advanced dive skills and rules, that you're thinking less about the technical aspects that you just acquired and more about the new ones that you're acquiring.
Right.
So
the navigation is a lot harder.
Yep.
It's a lot more challenging than your basic open water. There's a couple of things that you have to actually do. One is a deep dive, one is a night dive, one is a drift dive. So you got to really be up on your skills, at least your basic skills.
Yeah.
You gotta feel comfortable clearing your mask and which is a big problem. Like
for some people,
it's a big challenge. So a lot of people, and but it is. I recommend it highly.
Yeah, it definitely builds your confidence, especially if you plan on going to places like Monica's talking about going. You're going to be diving on wrecks. You're going to be doing some deep diving, and so having those skills, not only just so you're confident in handling the situations there, but it also makes it cheaper for you when you're going on these dives, because if you don't have any certification above a basic, and you're going to go on one of these deep dives in one of these resorts or whatever, they typically will tell you this is for advanced divers, and if you are going to dive, if you want to dive this, you need to have shown that you have done a deep dive, and you need to pay for a dive master to escort you there. So, and that's usually not cheap, so it will cost you more if you're not advanced certified already. Okay, as we're running a little bit late, but that's okay, because as we said before, we own the show.
We can do whatever we want.
We own the show. I think you were going to do a little commercial, although I think the deal was you were supposed to let me know for sure what you wanted to do.
I did.
So, you said you were looking at doing that. So I can make you a lower third to make this official.
We're just going to shoot through this pretty quick.
All right, let me... Here we go.
You're
on.
All right. For those of you that are interested in diving, we've talked about in the past about lights and backup lights and BC lights and stuff like that. But if you're ever going to find yourself doing a night dive, dive with underwater Kinetics. There you go.
Nice.
This is actually my primary dive light. It's D8, which means like it says, there's 8 D-side batteries that go into this bad boy. It does get a little heavy. It does come with two. It actually comes with the actual pistol grip that you see here on the actual flashlight, but you can get a lantern holder that can go up here on the top. It is okay. I do have it. I've never used it, and I think it cost me like an additional $8.
You're talking about the lantern handle.
The lantern handle, yeah, it was $8.
I was gonna say, you've never used the light?
No, I've used the light. It actually comes with 2 settings, so it has two lights in the event that one of them actually were to burn out. You can switch it over, and the other light will kick on. So it's, I don't know if you can kind of see it right there, but well, there's 2 little lights in there. Okay,
yeah,
you can't see it.
See that.
It breaks apart pretty easy, so in case it does get wet, and it does.
I think what he meant to say is it disassembles easy.
It disassembles.
Not that it breaks apart easy.
No, I'm sorry.
She's breaking up. She's breaking up.
It disassembles easy. All right, and it actually it gives itself to easy cleaning in the event it were to fail and get wet. There's a little piece that comes out. You can just air dry it or dry it with a towel, and that's pretty much it. It's real good. So this is underwater Kinetics, and the new version of this hasn't changed much. It's still the same. I think they just added different colors to it.
Does it also come in an LED version?
It does come in an LED version.
A lot more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very much more. The standard light. This light, I believe when I got it was $54 on Leisure Pro.
Wow, you got that for $54?
I got this for $54 on Leisure Pro.
That is a wonderful price.
It is. But now it's not on sale anymore, so now it's $74.
I'm still $74.
$74. Yep.
That's amazing.
And
Why, that's remarkable, Scuba Bob.
it is. So underwater kinetics. Make sure you
Dive Light.
dive light.
By
Underwater
Kinetics.
Yes. The newer there is a C, there's a C version of it, which is
C8?
I think it's a C6.
C6. Oh.
Yeah, 6 C-side batteries, but it is a LED light, which I'm kind of eyeballing, but it's $109.
Yeah.
It has the same projection, I think, as yours,
Yeah.
which is a shockwave. Right?
Love the LED lights, man.
Yeah. So I was really impressed. So now I'm looking at that one, but this is, as you can tell, it's pretty scuffed up. It's scratched because when I'm using it, it's in the dark, so it hits rocks and things like that.
And it keeps on ticking.
It does. It comes with a rubber bezel. There's a rubber housing around the bezel, so it doesn't, it can actually hit something, and it's not all that. And it's great. I love it. The only thing I actually added also was this little lanyard that it does not come with. So
Wow.
if you do buy
Even though
yourself,
it's obviously got a place for the lanyard to go.
it does, but it didn't come with it. So this is, I believe this was $6 at the local dive shop when we had one. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Final segment for this week is Dive Tech. For those who may not be aware, although it got some pretty good publicity, famed director James Cameron became the second person, or the second, he took the second dive ever down to the Marianas Trench.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was awesome. A secretly designed and built. He worked with was it Rolex? Yes, a watch manufacturer.
Rolex was the first one to actually send a watch down to the trench.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it kept on
Marianas
ticking?
Trench. It was the Deep Sea. It was called the Deep Sea. I know because I had a Rolex. And it was a whole little bio inside. When you buy the watch, it was inside. Tells you what the watch can do and can't do and whatnot. But the Rolex was the first manufacturer to send it. It was on the Trusty.
Yeah.
It was a ship called the Trusty.
Actually, it was the Triste.
Triste, there you go. The Triste. I'm sorry, it was French. Or it was Swiss.
That's right. It is French ship. It's
but,
a submersible.
the water pressure, I believe, on the outer hull of this thing was 38,000 pounds per square inch, which is pretty impressive. Well, they sent down a watch down there, and Rolex was the first one. They attached it to the hull of this thing, and it went down to the bottom, came up. The only thing that happened to the watch was the actual bezel had a crack on it.
Wow.
But it didn't leak into the bezel, and that same watch is actually at the Smithsonian.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, in New York.
Well, so James Cameron got with National Geographic and Rolex and his own tech people, and they designed this, what was basically a vertical torpedo, is really what this thing looks like, to descend to the Marianas Trench. He got to a depth of 35,756 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those who are up on their dive dive tables and pressures and things like that, that's over 1,083 atmospheres.
Yeah.
So if you dive to 33 feet, you are adding an additional atmosphere to your body. So you're experiencing 2 atmospheres of pressure on your body. So going down that depth that he went was experiencing the weight of over 1,083 atmospheres.
Well, actually, I got my math messed up right now. When I said that the pressure on the watch when Rolex first sent it down, it was actually 6 tons per square inch.
Yeah,
there you
that
go.
Makes sense.
There you
that
go. 6 tons per square inch.
That's a lot of weight pressing on you.
Yeah. So you measure a little square. There's 6 tons of pressure on that little square.
So his original plan was to be down there for 6 hours, but I guess they developed the
torpedo.
The torpedo developed a hydraulic fluid leak, so he had to cut it short at 3 hours, which still 3 hours.
It's pitch black
at
down
literally crashing down. Of course, they had like all these floodlights and everything lighting it up. And he said, but here's the thing that just trips me out over this. Second dive ever The last time that was the police
back
day
in
was 1960, something
in
like
the
that.
1960s.
So he goes down there, spends 3 hours, and saw nothing but moon surface. I'm like, I can go out to 35, 40, 50 feet out here at Lake Amistad and get the same view.
Yep. There you go.
Because that's all we've got out here, unless you're diving a rock wall. So, but anyway, that was
so he was disappointed. Is that?
Well, he said he saw some amphipods or something like that, but essentially no fish of any kind, nothing. I'm like, wow, what a letdown! 3 hours.
3 hours and only
millions of dollars to design this thing, and in secret, and then drop it. Oh, and here's the trip about this. If I understand it correctly, this thing was not tremendously sophisticated in that it basically was like a free dive. So, of course, it protected him from the pressure, but it was loaded up with weights, and then it just basically dropped down there.
Yeah.
And then when he was ready to come up, he released the weights and then comes up. I'm like, that's kind of like, I'm like, wow.
Well, the tree stay, when it actually dove down, it took I know, I can't remember the amount of hours that it took to actually descend down to that depth. The actual ship itself sustained some hull damage, but you're talking in the 60s,
Yeah.
So I mean, materials and things were different back then.
Right.
But when it dropped down, I think the only thing was there was a crack on one of the outer lenses of a window that they were able to look out.
I would be seriously going crazy if you see just little.
I did see the abyss.
Yep, I'm thinking
that
of
actually
the
happened to
abyss.
the submarine in the abyss.
That's what I'm thinking of.
But
it all caves in.
But the thing is, the glass itself from the window was, I believe, like 3 feet thick. Yeah, it was something like this thick. So it was just one of the outer ones, but still.
So it kind of looked like my glasses when I'm not wearing my glasses.
There you go. It's real thick.
I've got a horrible vision.
Wow. I'm surprised. He dove, made record. The second person ever to go down that depth, and he's complaining. It's crazy. Why didn't he dive on the Titanic?
Oh, wait a minute. He did.
He did. Well.
And now they got that lame movie out in 3D.
I kind of like the movie, though. I don't know if I'm going to pay to see it in 3D.
No. All I can think of is the only part that's going to look any decent in 3D is the part where Leo is standing on the bow of the ship going, "I'm the king of the world! I'm the king of the world!" So it'll be in your face 3D. The rest of the movie will be so boring.
It was all right.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Okay.
So have you gone to go see Wrath of the Titans yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
I saw Clash of the Titans, the original, back in the 70s or early 80s, whenever that came out with Harry Hamlin.
Yeah.
It was so campy. And I really wasn't interested in seeing the remake of it.
The remake, the original, the one that just came out, the actual Clash of the Titans was okay. It wasn't anything like with Harry Hamlin. I like that one a lot
Although
better.
I did hear they had an homage.
Yeah. The little boo-boo, the owl.
The owl.
Yeah, well, that one came out.
What's that? Never mind.
Well, that one came out actually in the remake of the Clash of Titans, and it comes out again in this one.
That stupid owl?
It has to make an appearance. It's like, where's Waldo?
Gosh.
So the owl comes out, and he asks again. Yeah. He asks, what's with the owl? And they just keep, like on the remake of the Clash of Titans, one of the soldiers says, "No, never mind that." And they do the same thing on this one. What is with that owl? And he's just like, "Never mind that owl." But it's just standing there. It's not moving.
So
it's just
sad. So sad. There are things that need to have homages, and there are things that not. Which, by the way, the latest episode of, I think it was Bones, had they used a Windows Phone in it, which was pretty cool. And I like the show Castle, because I'm a big Nathan Fillion fan because he was in Firefly and Serenity. And just it's a good crime drama, and but there's this other show on ABC called Missing that I've gotten into, with Ashley Judd, and it's kind of like in a way, it's kind of a play on how 24 worked, but she's trying to find her son. There's all these, twists and turns and things.
Didn't she make a movie like that called Double Jeopardy?
Kind of like this, but there was a part in there that I thought was so funny. She's in an old colleague's office, and he had left the CIA and became a fiction writer. So that you see on one of his desks, there's all of the books that he's written up there, and she's just kind of thumbing through there, and she picks up one, and she's holding this conversation, and they just have a camera shot of her looking at the book, and it has this little one-line writing at its best, or something like that. And it's Richard Castle, the fictional character that Nathan Fillion plays in Castle. I'm like, oh no, this is too funny.
Pretty cool.
They have a fictional book written by a fictional person with a little teaser by another fictional character on another show. Oh, that's great.
I mentioned Wrath of the Titans just a little while ago.
Yeah.
There is a little blooper in the movie if you guys go to check it out.
Really?
Yeah. This is set way back in the day. When there was gods and all of that. Well, one of the guys, when he's yelling, if you look at his mouth and you look at his teeth, you can see that he's got fillings in his teeth. Yeah, so it's a little...
I don't think they had fillings back then.
I don't think so either.
That's pretty cool.
I was like, did you see that? And he's like, see what? He goes, I go, you didn't see that? He goes, what, the fillings? I go, yep. He
Wow.
goes, so, I guess Zeus is, that powerful that he gave his son fillings too.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, that pretty well wraps it up for this week's episode. Now, we will be on a couples retreat next weekend. So what we'll need to do is either do the podcast Thursday night or Sunday afternoon.
Whichever you like. It doesn't matter to me.
Is Thursday evening
Thursday
cool for
sounds
you?
good.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Thursday's good.
All right, so for those of you paying attention or catching this podcast on YouTube or Vimeo, the next episode will be live Thursday at 8 o'clock. Because, what?
Hold on. Thursday may not work for me.
Oh,
so
no.
It might have to be Sunday.
Well, at least you have something in your calendar. That's impressive.
Yeah. No, I got a meeting with some representatives that are coming down from El Paso to meet with me.
What time is that?
We will be meeting at it's all day actually. Yeah. We'll probably be meeting around 6 o'clock in the evening. So
no chance of doing it later in the evening? Don't want to take a chance.
I honestly would not really want to take a chance.
Okay.
Because
so we'll plan for Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday
afternoon would probably be best.
Okay. And you'll get to see all the work that's being done at the house here. We're having, matter of fact, starting this weekend, Tara and I will be spending most of our time living in the spacious SETI Fox production studio here because we have to pull all of our furniture and everything out of the rest of the house.
Oh, okay.
So we're having tile and carpet put down.
Oh, so that's what I walked into right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right on. Okay.
Yeah. So we're excited about that. So.
Awesome.
All right, so Sunday afternoon, we'll post the time on our Facebook page. So in the website, check that out. Look forward to having you with us on another episode of Two Guys Who
Live long and prosper.